I'm here for it, Craig. I'm here for Widow's Bay.
We should mention that the Widow's Bay is the Jessica Z we lost along the way, maybe, huh?
Yeah, maybe the true Widow's Bay was the Jessica Z we lost along the way. That could be it. That could make sense.
Are you ready to do this dog and pony show?
I'm ready. Bring me all the dogs, bring me all the ponies, hold the donkey show.
Welcome to this episode of the Prestige Ish Media Podcast. I'm your host, Craig Lake, and with me is someone who always wants me to check his skin cancer and never calls to complain about getting meat in a wiener. It's Dan McNair. Dan, how are you this evening?
I'm doing okay. Of all the descriptions you've given me, that is the middleist.
So let's talk about Widow's Bay. We are on episode 8. For those of you that missed it, we did 1 through 7 last week. We just wrapped up Euphoria, and we are bridging the gap with Widow's Bay on the way to House of the Dragon. And we are here, episode 8, called Your Baggage. Dan, this show has not been your bag, baby, as of yet. But curious how you digested episode 8 of Widow's Bay.
Definitely one episode is an improvement. Do you want a lot of dog turds on your plate or just one? Yes, definitely. I haven't been big on this show. I do the acting, and there's bones in the context of what I do. And I am warming up a little bit to this show. Like you said, in the smaller doses, it's better. But I think there's just a lot that I'm missing. And the fact that the Mystery Island seems to have 3 or 4 running horrors, different things going on, and maybe you can help clear the wreckage in my mind of what I didn't get in previous episodes. But I really struggled with this at the end of the last episode. They seem to kind of defeat one problem, but in this episode, now we've got the boogeyman running around. So I don't know if there is a cause and effect from one thing kickstarting the other. I was kind of hoping that would make sense, but we also got the haunted hotel, and who knows? There's just a lot of lore going on this island, and it seems like a lot of random things, and maybe they'll all make sense and not be that way. But for me, trying to follow it, it's almost like a Ghoul of the Week show within one narrative that it's just a bit much for me to process.
We know you're more of a Boil of the Week show guy, not a Ghoul of the Week show guy. You got a rating for us?
I'll give it a 5.
Okay, and I'll give it a 7.5. So, a couple points of note here. I do think Ghoul of the Week is part of it. It's a show with a through byline, but I think if you think X-Files or something like that, something with X-Files, Parks and Rec, Twin Peaks, and Monk had a baby, maybe you get this show. I don't know. We need our buddy Tony Shalhoub on this thing. But so that's something. Couple points from last time. I do think we z'd through that house that the kids were going into, and they covered it in the pre-episode as well, was the place where the boogeyman was buried alive. So now that we know the founder's been buried alive, not a shocker that this guy was buried alive. So did one of the kids let him out? Who let the boogeyman out? Who? I don't know. I don't know how he got
The
out.
Boogeyman and Pony Show.
But I think it's believable that Richard Warren, who is the founder, couldn't die. Some of the things that happened around him were very similar to what was happening with the boogeyman. And we don't know whatever dark or spirit that Richard Warren was trying to channel or keep away, but maybe whatever befell him befell the boogeyman. Maybe if you remember, Richard Warren wanted sacrifices. Maybe the boogeyman just knows he has to get blood to fend off whatever this thing is. So maybe he's not so bad, this boogeyman thought. Go ahead.
So your speculation is great, but is there anywhere that the show has actually
I think because we both
delivered
hate
that?
Yeah, I think because we both hated Evan, and I think we both kind of Z'd out of it in episode 5. And if I'm being honest, I partially slept through that on my notes watch. Episode 5.
So I'm not the only one.
I haven't slept. But so I think That's where that part came from. There was another possible hint at the end of last episode that I was trying to place what it was, and I had speculated maybe the lady came back to the island, or I didn't know what was going on with that. There was a girl in the painting swimming back from the painting at the very end of the last episode. So that leads me to believe maybe one of Richard Warren's daughters swam back, birthed kids that Evan could be a descendant of. I did speculate about Evan being a descendant of the curse. So that would be another pathway to that. Something else we saw this episode that I don't really have a good answer for. If a baby's born on the island, does it help the curse? I don't know, but is Patricia telling that dude to get his wife out of there to protect the baby? Or I guess because if the baby's born there, he's trapped there, is the thought process. So that's some of that context that I think I have. Does that do anything for you?
It's interesting, but to me, it doesn't necessarily explain the sea hag or some of the other creepy crawlies going on unless they're just
I
all
think
part
you
of a
just
general curse.
I think you have to accept the Ghoul of the Week premise coming in. That's just that monster of the week or scare of the week. I think there's just going to be, and that's what big shocker, me as an anthology fan likes that, but I'm okay with that part of it. And yeah, I think it's whenever this curse comes around, the creepy crawlers come out and you got to make sacrifices, or it keeps it coming, as your mom says. Best I can tell. That's all I got. So let's work through this thing a little. We start the episode, and Wick and Tom and Patricia all think we're out of the woods, right? It's Tom, right? The mayor?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, Tom's good. He's buying Red Sox tickets.
Yeah, wrong Sox. Dan's a White Sox fan, but yeah, so that's going on. Tom seems to be almost in a euphoria. Patricia seems to have the weight of the world lifted off her. Wick's ready to make amends with old Jerry. Everything seems fine. We do get the side of the people at the office comparing skin cancer and boils. He gets the Red Sox tickets. We talked about that. Patricia's got a nice meal of takeout and wine. Any comment on big t-shirts, her bike shorts, and then wine and this takeout meal that was supposed to be, I forget what the actual meal was, but ended up being a turkey patty and a sausage link. Any thoughts here, Dan?
They go out of their way to make Patricia look pathetic. Just her existence as the woman home alone, eating her takeout meal, reading Grisham's in a bubble bath or something like that. Like, it's a little over the top, and Patricia is a likable enough character.
So
So
she is
I will
starting to turn
concede
you a
that.
little bit. Yeah, I think the actress who plays her has done a good job. What did you make of the welcome home Tom thing with Evan? And I'm just kind of curious your reaction, because I'm trying to put myself in Evan's shoes. And I feel like it would be a shock to find out that my mom had been alive. But with just a little bit of explanation, and then reading the first get the spiders out of my brain letter, it's
It's a scorpion,
understandable.
Craig. Spiders are fine. Watch out for the stinger,
Yeah,
which is
I'm
also
gonna.
what your uncle said.
Yeah, hi-oh. So, yeah, I guess my question is, you're Evan, you find this out, but the explanations start rolling in. How do you react, or what do you make of his welcome home, Tom? I thought that was a little ominous, but what do you make of all this?
So I don't know how far down the road we want to go here, but I think the story and justification all work out nicely, provided it's true, and I don't really have much reason to believe it's not. I can understand the dad's motivation. I can understand Evan's confusion, but they don't get hung up in, oh, now this is going to be a long, drawn out ordeal. Within the space of an episode, it seems to round the corner and have a good enough resolution.
Yeah, I think for me, there's those give me a shitty haircut barber memes, and they're like, say no more, fam. I get a couple sentences into how batshit crazy this person is, and I'm like, say no more, I've got this. So you are right to say that just an episode of this is not that long, but I feel like I wouldn't need more than a few things to put together here to get where it was going. But with that said, do we think she really actually is dead at this point? Because with it being resolved so quick, I'm not a fan of her potentially being alive, but with them resolving it so quick in this episode, my gut tells me she probably is. Thoughts on that
She's
theory?
probably still alive, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm speculating at this point.
I think that's a good call. This doesn't seem like a terribly big island.
Yeah.
So, if there is some hidden insane asylum that nobody knows about, that could be weird, or she could be off the island going insane. That's a possibility too.
I was going to say, we know maybe she can't necessarily go off the island, but Uranus, perhaps, maybe planetary excursions are available to these residents. You never know. We'll get Elon on the phone and see what we can do for her.
I haven't heard of a stretch that far since you were trying to reach the glory hole.
That's what step ladders are for, Dan. So we do get the Jerry and Wick reunion, and her husband seems nonplussed by the whole affair. Wick, you old dog, you. It looked like he was going to tell her that he killed her brother, and then they didn't really get around to it. Any thoughts there?
I bought it, but I was trying to understand because this is in the historical society building. Wasn't there a broken case? Did I miss what was going on with that?
Yeah, so somebody stole the Boogeyman mask.
Oh, that's what was in there.
Yeah, so that's pretty relevant there as far as not shocking you as much that the boogeyman showed up. So, yes, the boogeyman mask being missing. At one point, they show the house with maybe the front door broke. The suggestion is maybe one of the kids had stolen the mask, but it's like, we don't know. Once again, did somebody let him out? Did the powers of killing the one guy set him free? Was there a mini earthquake like we had in
Okay, so
Vegas
missing that,
yesterday?
did the mask being stolen, was that delivered to us in a previous episode? Did it happen at the
No,
beginning of this episode or like
this episode. So when he was walking out and Jerry's husband said, "Hey, watch for the glass."
remember that?
They did a close up of it. You had to read that it said boogeyman or whatever the fuck it said. I do think he said something about like maybe kids mess with it. And I do think they flashed to the boogeyman house after that. But that was the general dog and pony show there.
Okay, I did not know what that was.
Yeah. So that's setting up. And as we saw Patricia at the table, was the real horror that they got her order wrong, question mark, but or her outfit this episode, or who's a better runner? I'll let you decide, her or Rue. I think maybe advantage Patricia slightly.
Oh, go push.
But I was expecting potential boogeyman deal because also the pre-episode, she's alone now. It's like the curse isn't over or the show's over, or certainly the season. So I was waiting. So I was on boogeyman mask alert. So he kind of Rochambeaus her by setting off the book bus, honker, whatever that was. So the thought process is he sneaks in when she goes to let that out. She hears him breathing upstairs. So I think good on her that Patricia's a little alert. She's not like your typical get killed in a horror movie girl within reason.
You mentioned her dinner. Did he hide the sausage?
It's very possible or probable. 2% on the old plug-in taser. It looked like a taser from 20 years ago, probably. Any taser takes from you?
Don't tase me, bro.
So did they get a jump scare out of you? You knew he was coming, but they still got me a little bit. Did they get you on the jump scare at all?
I don't think I really bought in for the jump scare. The music set it up, I think, enough that
Yeah, for me it was the music that kind of delivered the punch for me. So I think still Patricia cringeworthy. She ends up at the catty girl's house. We find
Can you describe the boogeyman look? It's like Jason Voorhees impregnated Lock, Shock, and Barrel.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's the big Ed Gein thing. I think was he would wear skin on his face, right? I think it's more Ed Gein than Mike Myers or Jason, but definitely that influence for sure, but maybe a little more skin curated.
And just dude doesn't really break stride the whole
Ye-
time.
Yeah, and that's definitely a Jason or a Michael Myers thing for sure. And so I think they did a good job. We've talked about it. I think it was very obviously partially funny. I thought the funniest thing with her was when I'm bearing the lead a little bit when he gets run over and she's waking up and she's give you the keys, I'll run him over. And like, I don't know why, just that played well for me. And then we did get the admission from Patricia that she did lie about the calls, but she didn't lie about him being in her house. I thought the Yellow Jackets mini, not call out, but call out for our podcast when they said, "You ruined book club." I thought that was a funny line. Anything of that run of things or anything else on the Caddy Girls?
I was a little worried for the sheriff. We do get some quick casualties, one at the gas station and another paramedic. A very brief moment of silence for those minor characters. You know that the girl at book club is going to be a bitch. And I don't know. I felt like Patricia was going to do fine here. I wouldn't have minded seeing more catty bitches taken out. And then he does a little somersault out the second story window.
I think that shows that he's on the Patricia hunt. Maybe it's a little bit of leftover business. As you mentioned, he did slice the sheriff, but he did not stab the deputy, Dan, in case you were unsure about that. We got a little break from the action when we went back to the Evan thing. We do get an admission from Tom about why he didn't share any of this before, and he says they make me sadder than I already am. I thought that was fair, and he does show the pictures, the better pictures of the mom, and we get the Red Sox stuff eventually. Did you have any thoughts of Fez when we did get to the gas station?
Any thoughts of Fez? No, not really.
I was like, "Where's Fez when you need him?" So in this whole exchange, I thought it was funny her trying to figure out how to get the gas going and 20 on 3, and she's just so insane anyway. And obviously the gas station attendant fire extinguishing this guy. It's all so
So, hey, you're
stupid.
not supposed to do that.
And then watching Patricia after she shoots him down, follow him in the ambulance throughout the whole process into the crematorium until she sees his ashes. I thought that was all entertaining based on what we could have seen there.
It was, and that was the weird comedy element.
Yeah.
That was the weird warm spot where comedy and horror interconnect and it somehow works.
Yeah, and I think mainly the comedy has been some of the strengths this season. Once again, though, I don't know going into a season like this, obviously with Apple money, you just film the whole season. There's differing comments on how much they give inputs into shows and how much freedom they give creators. So my question is, will they see from this season what's worked and in the second season lean into more of what works? And that's kind of my question. And for me, the character stuff and the humor is what's working. So the wrap up with the son is they're arguing over what is the Freedom Trail, Dan? Is that the Paul Revere horse trail, or do you have a beat on that?
Exactly what's involved, but I think there's almost a tourist trappy. You can see all these major revolutionary monuments by walking one particular path, and it gives credence to just very important historical monuments.
Yeah, so it does say, and the Paul Revere house is in there, so that's where I was getting that from. But it's 16 key places in the Revolution on a walking trail, like you said. So that all checks out. Yeah, I know there's the duck tours. I don't know if the Cheers bar is still there, but I don't think either of us are huge Boston guys. Not really my bag, baby.
If you're gonna walk it, you're gonna need a Sam Adams.
We wrap up where Wick shows up and he says it's not over. I kind of skipped over, but preface, we did get the weird hospital scene with Patricia telling the sheriff that him and his wife needed to get out of there. I guess the big revelation there is I think we as the audience knew his wife was pregnant, but he had not shared it with anyone. And I guess is the premise here that he doesn't want to give any more notice than he has to and not get his pay till he's leaving. Do we think that's what's going on here?
I'm a little confused because it seems like he wants to quit, but it also seems like he's aware of this curse and he wants to have the baby on the island.
No, I think there was in that phone call conversation, and I don't know if that was around, I think it was around episode 3 or 4 with his wife. But I think the thought process is he wants to get out, but I just think maybe he's collecting as much as he can until then. But I think most of this process he actually hasn't believed in the curse. I think we see him as things keep happening, start to wonder. But I think his initial thoughts were like, it's just Patricia being weird. But the more he's seeing, I think the more you got to start questioning yourself, especially at this point. That's my take. I don't know if that's 100% right, but I think that's generally narratively that makes sense to me. So I'm thinking that's the thing. Anything else you got here? I think pretty tidy episode other than that. Closing
Yeah, I
thoughts
thought
from
it
you.
was a nice swerve where just after the moment, Tom and his son have had this frustration, but now we've got a happy ending going off to the Sox game. Evan's thrilled, and then a second later, now he's got to break the news like, oh crap, we can't do that.
Yeah, and it just seemed like that was always as soon as he got excited, this isn't gonna go well, kind of thing.
Yeah, this is why we can't have nice things in Widow's Bay.
I will say, nice not covering one of the longest episodes in TV history. Nice not covering 7 episodes at a time. For our audience, it'll be a little bit of a break, but I will say 2 of the last 3 Euphoria episodes were some of our most listened to in history.
Whoop.
One on Spotify this week is our longest in a very long time. And a lot of the metrics change, and it's hard to tell what's happening which way. But for all you new listeners, we want to thank you for tuning in. Please keep tuning in. If this show is not your thing, we will be back with House of the Dragon in a couple weeks here.
I'm on my House of the Dragon rewatch right now. A whole 3 episodes in. The lady likes it.
Season 1 is better, I think, on rewatch. I don't know how you're feeling. You're on your 3rd watch, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's weird after having watched 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, and it's hard to disassociate.
Yeah.
But there are little things, and I think she tried to get into it and it didn't work, but now with some of the kind of subtitles I can give and add, it seems to flow a little bit smoother. So that much is cool. And oh, there was a tease for Ring of Power season 3. Did you see that?
I did not see that yet, but I assuredly look forward to that. Is that August time frame?
Exactly. Like
Yeah, we'll
just
have
like
to
the kids
see.
going back to school, a shitty Ring of Power will come out.
Yeah, we'll have that. We'll have Only Murders. We'll see how we can hang in there with Lantern and how it all ties out. Up to you if you want to jump in on it. But in July, I am gonna cover the wrestling documentary series Dark Side of the Ring 7. There are 7 episodes. Tom Chan is on board, and I have at least one other person. So you're welcome to stay clear of that. But if you want to jump in, you're welcome to also chime in.
What bullshit app subscription service do I have to pay for to get that? That's July?
Yeah, it starts July 7th is the premiere.
So that's also when Dark Side of Your Mom comes out.
Oh, yeah. Don't forget about that. We'll stay tuned there.
Zing!